everyone, and welcome back to Thorough Newspaper Analysis, which is brought to you by LawSikho. Let's see what articles we will be discussing today. So the first article is from The Hindu, which is titled as The Marriage Age Misconception. Now, as we know that very recently in his Independence Day speech, as well as yesterday also we discussed that the Prime Minister Narendra Modi and basically the government is actually planning to increase the marriageable age of women from 18 to 21 and make the ages for both men and women equal to 21. Now let's see that we have already discussed could be the benefits of doing this, but in today's article a very nice concept has been discussed as to it talks about that there will be no significant change in the nutrition or health or education of women just by increasing the age of marriage. Rather, there are other important steps that need to be taken by the government. Secondly, Tailwind from Villages. It is from the Indian Express. Basically, it says that as we know that the pandemic of COVID-19 has hit harder on the cities in India. So in that scenario, the villages are a very good area where the economy can be boosted very efficiently, and villages can act as one of these biggest factors of bringing back the economic growth in India. How can that be achieved? We'll discuss in this article. Thirdly, a new social contract. Basically, it also talks about the factor that since COVID-19 has hit the entire country, so there are a lot of areas apart from the rural, as in the previous topic. There are other areas as well which need a lot of attention from the side of the government and government policies, and this would be a good chance to actually give them this attention. And fourthly, China twist. Please mind, this is China twist in Teesta challenge. So basically it talks about the recent talks that are going on between Bangladesh and China, wherein China is agreeing to give a huge amount of money for the development of Teesta River in the Bangladesh. Now, how it will challenge India and how is it really worrisome for India, we will discuss in this article. And then finally, in the news and flash column, we will discuss the small crisp pointer news which are important specifically for our prelims exam. Now let's have a look at the various courses that we have at LawSikho for you. At the center, we have the Lord of the Courses, which is the Judiciary Test Prep course, where you can enroll yourself and get yourself prepared in the most efficient manner for this exam. You can visit the landing page. The link is there in the description box, and you can download for yourself free study material, which is very amazingly drafted for you all. Then there are other courses as well. You can always have a look at them. Now let's see that what is the multiple choice question for today. If you will be able to answer this now as well, you may jot down the answer in the comment section below. So the question is, Chittagong port recently seen in news is in which country? First, Myanmar. Second, Bangladesh. Third, Sri Lanka. Or fourth, Iran. Then here is the descriptive question for you all. Discuss the various factors responsible for low health and nutrition status in the women in India. Does the marriageable age play any role in it? So basically you have to analyze what are the responsible factors, and also is marriageable age one of those factors or not. So the answer to this has to be written within a word limit of 250 to 300 words, and you can jot it down in the comment section below. With this, let's quickly start with the discussion. Now we will directly jump as to what this article is trying to convey. Now, as we have already discussed, that the government is going to is actually pondering upon increasing the marriageable age for women to 21, just as that of men. Now let's see what the author has to say about it. Basically, the author is saying that the government is actually trying to, shed off its shoulder from the responsibilities that actually it has, and the work that it actually in reality needs to do for making the process of upliftment of women and, to improve the idea of nutrition and health in women. The author says that merely increasing the age of marriage to 21 will in no way address to the issues, to the health and nutrition issues that the women actually are facing in India. Rather, there are other factors that need to be taken in mind, and also there are actually the author tries to tell that why government might be thinking to take this easier step, and it would actually just think that we are working in this regard, but actually there would be no progress at all. So why such step as to why the government actually is planning to increase the age to 21 is the author says here is, first, population control. So as per the government, the best way to improve health and nutritional status is by controlling the population. It is actually definitely not wrong, because obviously when the population is less, then the resources are distributed in a better manner. The government policies can be used in a more beneficial manner. But in reality, poverty may be the main cause for early marriages, causing malnourishment. Now, basically, yes, it is not the increasing population or maybe increasing sex ratio for that matter, or any of those factors which actually put two girls into the institution of child marriage or causing malnutrition. Rather, it is the parents and the poverty of that family that actually causes the girl to marry at an early age, because here, because of various systems like the dowry, etc., and then because they will have to spend on that child till the time she's in their home, so they think it better to just get her married off as soon as possible. So basically here the author says that not any other factor, but according to the author, poverty is the main issue. And if you really want to work on the health, nutrition, education, etc., of any section of the society, and even for women in specific, then poverty must be addressed at the best in the best manner, and not any other factor, but because all the reason is poverty behind every other such thing. Second, declining fertility rate. India's fertility rates in many states is well below replacement levels, and advocates of population control have shifted to expressing concerns for undernourishment of children. So basically, the author says here that the declining fertility rate, they think that if we increase the marriageable age, so the declining fertility rate will also be controlled. But then again, declining fertility rate is not only because of the low to a lesser age, but also the levels of nutrition that are available in the child and her and his or her mother, for that matter, that woman. And actually the reason for that is poverty. But obvious, if they have some amount of money, then if they know that they can afford to have good foods, good medicines, good supplements, then definitely the nutrition and health level would be good for both the mother as well as the child. But when they are poverty stricken, obviously they have various other priorities to take care of rather than feeding the a pregnant woman in an efficient manner. So that is why the author again says that it is, if you really want to address fertility rate, then just increasing the marriageable age of women would not do sufficient good, but rather you should work on the nutrition and also through the way of increasing or elevating the poverty levels. And thirdly, costless and effortless. So basically, it is very simple to see, because here it will be really easy for the government that you basically have to do nothing. You are bearing no financial cost, no administrative or executive cost, and you simply have just raised the age of marriage, and you are like bearing no other responsibility for that matter. But that definitely should not be the case, right? So it will leave majority of women marrying before 21 without legal protection. So it will not be a case that if you have raised the age of marriage to 21, so they will still get married at 21 or above only. There will be a lot of people, there is a huge section of society that will still get married their girls at an age lower than 21 only. And thus the actual problems that you were trying to address will no way be addressed just by increasing the marriageable age of women. And thus other steps in the area of poverty, nutrition, health, education, they must be taken, and only then you can actually elevate the status of women in the society. With this, let's discuss the second article for the day, which talks about rural economy. Basically, here the author says that it is evident that the impact of COVID-19 is able to be seen more and larger in the cities due to various factors, because obviously they were high in population. The compactability, that is the population as compared to the area that is available in that city, is really, the ratio is really surprising, because due to this, the very protective step of social distancing is not really very feasible and not even possible in the cities. On the contrary, the rural areas or the villages have had very less of impact of COVID-19, because obviously the population is less, then the social contact is very less, and also various other factors through which this virus could have spread is also less, like the air conditioners, etc. So in such a scenario, it can be a really golden chance for us to realize the metal that the rural economy has and to pay more attention to the rural economy, because at this time, when even the economy that we have currently is just going down day by day, rural economy and boosting the rural economy can be a very good solution to boost the overall economy of the entire country. Now, we already know that why the villages are less affected. First, naturally distanced and less mobile, as we just discussed, that they are. Yes, so the densely populated areas have been worst hit by the outbreak, as we know, like in the cities, and thus a less number of cases are there. It is a benefit for the villages. Secondly, relief packages. Now we know that various relief packages have been released, have been, they've been put forward by the government, and the very recent one, which was rupees. Please remember, it is not in dollars. It will be very, very huge amount if it is in dollars. It is in rupees. 20 trillion packages there. So it is largely focused on providing relief to the rural population and economy. Now, as we know that here also, like there is an example for Manrega also, a larger amount of money was given to Manrega this time, which is the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. Basically, Manrega is a government scheme. It has been working since a lot of years, even more than a decade now. And it promises to provide at least 100 days employment to a person in a complete 1 year. And thus, since the time this COVID-19 has hit our country, Manrega has played a huge role, and it has been very beneficial for the people in the rural areas. And the government also has given more and more funds to Manrega so that better employment opportunities are still available with the people in the rural areas. Then further, this package of 20 trillion rupees has been given, and it largely provides for, now as we had already discussed, that various food grains are provided for free. Until the month of November, they will be provided for free. So the basic thing that the people in rural areas had to fight for, firstly, the food, and secondly, for the employment, the government actually was quite successful in providing these two basic commodities and necessities to the people at a very easy through a very easy process. And that is why it was very easy to control the mobility or movement of the people in the rural areas. And thus these factors are the ones which we should strengthen more and more to achieve better rural economy. So then rural reforms, one of these is easing the Essential Commodities Act, and the benefit through it was more freedom to the farmers was given. And now also we know that there has been a reform in the APMC, which is the Agricultural Produce Market Committee, through which now a farmer can also sell his own products beyond these government mandis, and can also directly interact with the buyers for their products. Then, as we know, 10% hike has been given to the minimum wages through Manrega. So definitely better income, and better income means better social status and better social security as well. Then 65% rise in spending on public work scheme, and the benefit then again is through more employment, just like Manrega. And then 6 months free food grain scheme, which has increased rural savings, of course. So these are the areas which need to be taken care of. And fourthly, most important one is the strong monsoon, because this time the monsoon has been really good, and that is why the sowing, or to say, the agriculture activities have been boosted to a significant level, and there is a chance that now the farmers will be able to produce even better this year through by means of strong monsoon. So there is high availability of water in the reservoirs, and thus the agricultural processes have become very easy and feasible. So the author says that these are the areas which the government has already worked on, and of course this is something, a natural factor which we should be really thankful to mother nature. But then again, other of these factors, the government is doing a good role already, and then we should play more and more actively in these areas to boost our rural economy in order to boost our national economy at a greater pace. Now let's discuss the next article for the day, which talks about a new social contract. Basically, a new social contract says that a new way of interacting in the society, and a new way in which the society should be segregated, or in a way the society should be understood. So basically, as the employment rates have improved from 27% in March, April to around 9% now. So basically, these are the unemployment rate. Please mind, this is not the unemployment here. Employment here, it should be unemployment. So basically, the unemployment in India had been high to the unprecedented levels, which was 27%, and now it has actually come down to 9%, which is a very good news. And now 3 other problems need to be addressed. So now to even to better the situation and to decrease the unemployment, or to increase the employment, as just the way you like it. So Three problems must be addressed. First is labor regulation. Basically, the current scenario is that India has a lot of like labor, though still we are working in increasing the labor force. According to the PLFS, which is the Periodic Labor Force Survey, it says that the most of the the people in India, or the working class in India, they fall into the informal sector, and only 15% of them are in the formal sector. Basically, there is just a very little difference between formal and informal, but that little difference is really huge to say. So basically, informal sector is where the laws, various labor laws, the government schemes, they are not able to percolate, or to say they are not able to reach or make their way properly into the informal sector. Now just take an example that there is a shop, or there is a small shop of when we say of for the cigarette vendors or pan vendors for that matter. What do you think? Have they gotten any kind of registration done with the Companies Act or so, or do they even have a company for that matter? Of course not. So basically, they fall in the area of informal sector. And in India, 85% of the entire workforce comes into the informal sector. And as we have already said, only 15% actually comes in the formal one. And that is why only they are governed by strong labor laws, and the rest of the 85% have no protection at all. Now, the steps needed here is that a new social contract to define a well-calibrated social security system, balancing flexibility and protection. Basically, the author here says that this share of 85% is really huge to be in the informal sector, and slowly we should make efforts to formalize this sector. So the benefits of formalizing this would be that the various labor laws that we have in India, like for example, we have the Minimum Wages Act, etc., and various other labor laws, they are not at all applicable on these informal sectors because there is nobody to govern the execution of these laws. And thus, we should make efforts so that more and more people fall into the formal sector, so that the labor or the workers are provided more protection. And on this, and along with this, hand in hand, the employers are also provided with some kinds of flexibilities. So actually, the process has to go hand in hand. So basically, it will be a good step for both the employees as well as the employer. The employees will be given more protection from any kind of exploitation, and the employers would be given more flexibility to to have better gains through commercial or other means. Then the second point here is living conditions for migrants in cities. Now, as we know that since the time of COVID-19, there has been a huge a scenario of reverse migration. Now, but obvious, this became evident that the migrant workers who were working in other cities, they definitely did not enjoy a very comfortable and a proper good life. And that is why when the pandemic hit harder on the cities, they had to actually migrate back to their own native cities or villages. Now, this shows that the cities definitely were not equipped to take care of the various, the various requirements of these migrant workers, and thus we should focus more on providing better living conditions for the migrants in the cities as well. Then, firstly, it says that the current status is that the cities are filled with slums, with poor people living with poor living conditions, and around 70% of the population still lives in rural areas. Now imagine that already we say that the 70% of Indian population is residing in the rural areas, and only 30% of them are in the urban areas. And also from those 30%, the majority are living in the slums. Now this gives us an idea that how poorly our cities have been planned and what is the status of various facilities available in the cities. Now we need to have more liberal land use regulation. Now, since there should be proper distribution of land, and also like slums are mostly they are divided in a horizontal manner. So there is hardly any chance that there is a building or there is a roof one above the other, obviously, because they're already made in such a shoddy and such a weak manner that obviously there cannot be floors to it. Then, thus, the government should make more efforts, and even the private entities have to have a good role into it, wherein the land use can be done in a more effective manner. And for example, if the land has a horizontal capacity of accommodating 100 houses, then definitely we should also make efforts to make the vertical capacity increase, as in there could be 100 houses, but there could be 100 more houses just above these houses, as in even one house above them will increase the number to just double. So there should be a wiser use of land use regulation. Then secondly, we should encourage the migration of people to higher productivity occupations in cities, and thus we should have better employment opportunities as well. Then thirdly, we should ensure clean, affordable and accessible housing in the cities. Then thirdly, the author definitely is not forgetting that along with this, when we are trying to increase and enhance the standard of living in the cities, we should not forget about the rural economy, as we just discussed in a previous article as well. So the author says that along with this, rural economy also should be paid equal attention, and the current status is that there is a huge gap between the urban and the rural areas, and that has increased with time. And further, we're still fighting a lot to decrease the digital divide that we have between the urban and the rural areas, due to which obviously in the COVID-19 scenario also education has been hampered a lot. So basically the current scenario, this current gap between rural and urban areas, or the rich and poor areas, should be minimized. Then we need to increase farmers' income, because obviously so farmers are the backbone of not only a rural economy and of course of entire India as well. And that is why we should focus a lot on increasing the farmers' income by helping them grow more value added crops. Now for example, an example of this can be taken as that since India is trying to become Atmanirbhar, there are a lot of food grains, crops and other horticulture products which have a huge scope of exportation. So if the farmers are investing into these products, like for example palm oil, also BT cotton, which is a very high quality cotton, and India has also been one of the largest producers of BT cotton in the times of 2014 to 15. So producers and also exporters of so these are the things. Further, there are a lot of exotic fruits which we are currently importing in India at a very high rate. For example, dragon fruit, and also various fruits like kiwi also. So kiwi also has a lot of potential to be grown in India, but it is only grown in very limited areas due to various limitations, but that they can be tackled as well. So such things like dragon fruit and other exotic fruits, palm oil, etc., they should be focused. These are the crops which have more potential of given value, and thus it would give a better stance or better income to the farmers. Then we should encourage agro processing near the source, which is fostering entrepreneurship. Like for example, just taking example of palm oil only. So if the area where palm oil or the palm trees are grown, or the particular vegetation for palm trees is there, the processing units also should be nearby, so that the cost of production is reduced and we can produce and export that particular good at a competitive price on the global level. Then we should invest more in the rural connectivity, obviously. So the roads and proper connectivity should be done. Now this should be done through roads, and in the current scenario through technology and internet as well. Now finally, let's discuss the India-Bangladesh China matter. So we'll just go with it in a very crisp detail. Basically, India and Bangladesh have had a long run dispute on the Teesta water. So basically we'll look at the location of Teesta river in the very next slide. And basically India and Bangladesh are trying from a long time to actually come to a solution for the proper distribution of water in the Teesta river. But and this has given a whole chronology. You can go through this as to how and when the developments have been taken place. But since last 5 to 6 years, there has been no significant development in bringing this issue to a solution. Basically, this is the Teesta river, this one. Now, as you can see, this is the Teesta river, and it flows from the northern side and from the Sikkim, and then from here it goes into the Bangladesh border, and then it joins to other rivers called as Padma and Meghna, and then it finally flows out in the Bay of Bengal. So basically this actually is because of it, obviously it is a cross-border river, so there is a huge dispute of water between India and Bangladesh. So it is basically one of the biggest areas of conflict also when it comes to Bangladesh, apart from the illicit opium intake or import export which goes on, or the infiltration of the people or refugees, that etc. Apart from that, this water dispute is also a major one. Now recently what has happened is that China and Bangladesh have come to a talk where China is ready to give a huge amount of money to Bangladesh for development of the area near the Teesta water or the Teesta river. Why at all India should be worried about this is the factor that already India is not having a very good relationship with China in the current scenario. Further, China and Bangladesh are already very close in partners when it comes to economic trade and other factors also. Now here we know that this area, which is also known as this one, is also known as the chicken's neck. So basically it is a very narrow area which connects northeastern states to the mainland India. Now here, if China will have a greater influence on Teesta and all in all on Bangladesh, definitely it will be easier for China to make a movement through this area, and also increased influence from this side as well, because if it will develop a very good relationship with Bangladesh in times of crisis, it would be possible that China is able to cut down this entire area of northeast through this chicken's neck from the mainland India, and then it would be very difficult for India to actually supply anything or get control of the northeastern area. Also, now you may think that India could use this sea route and move to the northeastern states of Tripura and other states or from here. But then again, we should keep in mind that also when we are trying to move from here, these waters come under the jurisdiction of Bangladesh. And further, we need to use a lot of ports. And here is the Chittagong port, which we were discussing about somewhere here. So basically, the Chittagong port is in Bangladesh, and so these waters are also, they belong to Bangladesh. And if we would not have good relations with Bangladesh, or we would have an increased influence of China over this area, it would be really difficult for India to connect to this area and also to maintain friendly relations with Bangladesh. So basically this was the basic idea of this entire thing, and that is why it should be taken to priority that India should focus a lot on maintaining its friendly relations with Bangladesh. So basically here are some facts, you can go through this, that India is the biggest trading partner in South Asia is Bangladesh, but for Bangladesh it is China. So basically China has a very good relationship with Bangladesh, and though India also has a good relationship with Bangladesh, but the increasing influence of China can be a threat to India. So here are a few crisp points, you can go through this. So basically that actually will give you an idea of the relationship, a deeper idea of relationship between amongst India, China and Bangladesh. With this, let's discuss the news and flash that we have for today. Sputnik 5. So basically a question can come that what actually is Sputnik 5? You should keep in mind it is no any satellite or rocket, or this is no any space project. Rather, this is the vaccine that Russia is claiming to have developed. So basically this Russia is saying that it will be giving this vaccine to India as well. And obviously since we know that India shares a very good relationship with Russia, so it has agreed that once it is all tested, it is all done, it will be made available to India as well. So basically the name of this vaccine is Sputnik 5. Secondly, Swachh Sarvekshan 2020 report. Now again, Indore has for the 4th time continuously, it has been ranked as the cleanest city in the country. So this also can be a potential prelims question, and it has been followed by Surat, Navi Mumbai and Ambikapur. Then among the smaller cities, the ranking was topped by Karad, Saswad and Lonavala. Thirdly, new constitution for Sri Lanka. Basically, President Rajapaksa has now, as we know that he has recently been again chosen as the president of Sri Lanka. He has announced that Sri Lanka will draft a new constitution, and it will aim at removing the 19th Amendment Act, which actually imposed restrictions on the presidential powers and strengthen the parliament. So a question like this, that which country has recently announced to draft a new constitution? You may have some options. So the correct answer would be Sri Lanka. So this was all for today. We hope it was a good session for you. Stay tuned with LawSikho for such more sessions to come. Thank you so much.